Hello everyone, it's Tana. Welcome back to the channel and another video for the Rabbit Hole Designs. Today we are working with two stamp sets from the latest release. We are working with Come Fly With Me, which is this cute hot air balloon made out of flowers with this little bunny peeking out. And also Spring Delivery. And how cute is this bunny on a Vespa? I'm not sure if it's a Vespa, but that's what I call it. So I already have my images colored and cut out. So now we're going to do some quick ink blending on a slimline card here, or a slimline panel, I should say. And I just listed my colors there for you, and I just alternated between those, going back and forth. And while you're watching me do that, I will tell you that I'm using the Clouds in My Coffee stencil, also made by the Rabbit Hole Designs. And the sentiments on this stamp set are: we rise by lifting others, floating by to say hi, our friendship is the greatest adventure, and just a note to cheer you up. So there's that stamp at the top of the set with all those bows in it. And I thought, how great could it be if I could turn that into a hot air balloon? So I cut out a scallop circle from my stash and stamped out a whole bunch of those bows and colored them and fussy cut them out. Yep, I fussy cut every single one of those suckers out. And now I'm just gluing them onto my scallop circle. And I was like, oh, looks a little plain. So I decided to hit it with the Versamark and go over it with some holographic embossing powder. So it still has a shine to it. And it looks kind of iridescent over the cardstock. So here I have my bottom half of my hot air balloon cut out, fussy cut out. And now we're going to glue our circle onto those hot air balloon strings. So I put some purple tape on there just to hold them in place as the glue dried. And now I'm going over my first hot air balloon, the flower part of it, with the same holographic heat embossing powder. Sorry. And we're going to make a mat around the back side of this card. I cannot remember, I think this is razzleberry cardstock from MFT, but I can't be sure. I have so many sample packs in my stash. I'm going to pop this whole thing up on foam tape, and we're going to use some glue to attach that to our slimline card base here. And I really love the way this background turned out. I just love that cloud stencil. It's one of my favorites. I'm going to use the same glue to just adhere my images straight to the panel because it's already given dimension by the foam tape on the back of the panel. And then I'm going to use that same cardstock to heat emboss my sentiment, which I'm using Serenade from Catherine Pooler, and I stamped it till it was dark enough to show up kind of like those purple flowers in the top hot air balloon. And then I went over it with some clear embossing powder. And if I could do this again, I probably would have tilted the top balloon a little bit less and cut more of it up off of the top so it looked like it was further above the second balloon. I used a cloud die cut to cut out that sentiment and just glued that to the bottom right corner of the card, and that card is finished. So now I'm going through the pattern paper. There are two pattern paper packs in this release, and they are both fantastic. I love these pattern papers. I had such a hard time deciding what to use, so I'm showing you what is in Spring Floral number 1, which is a 6x6 paper pack, 24 double-sided sheets, 3 each of 16 designs. So those plaids, by the way, probably my favorite. But I had a hard time, but I finally did decide what pattern paper was going to be on the back of or on the front of my card here. So I'm just showing you here. If you wanted to separate these two, you technically could. So I stamped out the bunny and just did not stamp the basket of flowers by just covering that part of the stamp with some purple tape. And then I did it the other way. I stamped the flowers and not the motorcycle and bunny. And you do end up getting a little bit of a part of the basket on the front of the Vespa, but I just turned that into a headlight. So here I'm showing you, I have a Get Well word die that came in a Love Nicole die set from AC Moore when it was still open. We don't have any AC Moores here anymore, unfortunately. And the center of a flower die from my stash. And I'm going to use this as exhaust. And the exhaust puffs will lead up to the Get Well, which will be part of my sentiment. Now, I used purple tape. I used low-tack purple tape, and it still ripped my paper. But believe it or not, it was kind of like it just ripped clear across the top layer of the paper, if that makes any sense. I was able to glue it down with my two-way glue pen, and nobody will even notice. So now I'm measuring out where I'm going to put the acetate, and I'm only putting glue in those spots. And because the shaker will only be on this part of the card. So we're going to need to fill that in with foam tape. And I am going to use Heffy Doodle, the double height foam tape. And I think it's sized in millimeters, but it equals out to be 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch. And I love this stuff because then I don't have to try to carefully double up the foam tape on my own, and it's a perfect height for shaker cards and the bits you want to put in. Excuse me for my furnace kicking on. It's extremely cold today. It was actually warm today, but tonight it's freezing, and no matter how many times I turn the heating or the thermostat down, it keeps kicking on during my voiceovers. I need a soundproof room, guys. Okay, so I chose some of the purple plaid to go in the background of the shaker. And then I took some of the sequin bits that came along with my rabbit hole design stamps and put those in there. But I think I only picked out the bunnies out of the sequin bits. And then I added some seed beads and some Nouveau Cloud circles. And then I put glue on my foam tape and put the background onto the front panel. But I did it upside down so I wouldn't lose my shaker bits. I know, I'm being silly, guys. I'm sorry. So now we're stamping out the other part of our sentiment, which is soon. Of course, you want somebody to get well soon. You don't want to say get well eventually. Plus, get well soon is actually what the sentiment strip in the stamp set says. It says get well soon. There is another one in the spring delivery stamp set that says friends are like flowers. They fill the world with beauty. And it says Celeste Bernard, so I'm assuming that is her quote. So I'm going to glue my little bunny with the Vespa on there. I had to cut some of his flower basket off, but that's okay. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like what you saw here today, and sign up for the Rabbit Hole Designs email to get notifications on the latest releases and tons of inspiration. And we'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye for now.